Hello, everybody. It is a wonderful Tuesday evening, and I have been looking forward to this all day long. I have my beautiful client, Julene, who did my course. How long ago, Julene, did you do the course?
That was 2019.
2019.
Yes.
So over 2 years ago, 2 years ago, but you met Andy. You've been married for how long?
2 years. Well, we've been married. No, I did the course in 2018. Yes.
Yeah, you must have done it in 2018
Yes.
because that's what I thought. The two of you have been married
Yes.
for 2 years. And you how long did you know each other before you got married?
November to June.
November to June, so pretty quickly.
Yes.
November, December, January, June. So 7 months.
Yep.
The two of you got married after 7 months. That's incredible. Well, Julene, I want to go back to when you and I first met, and if you can remember back that far and what that experience was like for you. What was going on in your life when you found me? What was happening?
So after some failed relationships, couple of failed marriages, I said to myself, I am the common denominator. And, a lot of people joke that, oh, my picker is broken. And, that's funny. And we can all joke like that. But at the end of the day, I wanted to quit choosing the same type of man that just showed up in a different cloak. And I thought, oh, no, this one's different. This one's different. And they weren't. They were narcissistic, just not people that you can have a good, healthy, strong relationship with. And so I was watching a lot of, YouTube videos on dating and all these different things. And I finally just decided I needed to really I needed a coach. I've had a coach for other things in my life, and I found that to be very successful. And I wanted a dating coach. And you happened to come up on my feed and on Facebook, and I listened to you, and it just resonated. And then I had the pleasure of talking to you, and it was just an instant, like, this is what I'm doing. I don't care what, I'm doing it.
And Julene, you're one thing that always stood out to me about you is that you have such a huge heart, like one of the biggest hearts I've ever known in my life. And one of the things that touched me so deeply was when you told me that you have a very good friend who owns a nonprofit. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Because that was so amazing to me when you told me about what you do with her.
Yeah. So there's a nonprofit called Hello Gorgeous, and they do complimentary head-to-toe makeovers for women battling all types of cancer. And they're nominated by friends or loved ones. And they are then brought to my salon or to a salon. And they're greeted with a big "Hello Gorgeous" and a bouquet of flowers.
Wow.
And they are swept away for just a day of beauty. And cancer strips everything that makes a woman feel feminine: her hair, her eyebrows, sometimes her breasts. And so, it was a very rewarding time to give back to those women and to be a part of that organization.
Yeah. And I think you had said that you would travel all over teaching salon owners how to do this, how to do these head-to-toe makeovers for these women with cancer. And I just thought that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I never forgot that. Like, what an incredible thing, especially for me. My mom died of breast cancer when I was very young. So I watched that. I watched her fall apart from all the things that you just said. And this was over 40 years ago. So
You don't forget it.
no, you don't. And so what a beautiful gift. And so you found me. How did you find me? Was it a Facebook ad? Were you looking specifically for love coaches?
I just knew that I wanted very specific coaching and training. And, Facebook reads your mind. And so if you think about it, it shows up. And so I think just, getting on YouTube and different things and watching a lot of different videos and things, things started coming into my feed.
Mhm.
And you had a video that I listened to, and it just totally resonated with me. And I was so excited that I was able to have the complimentary one-on-one coaching with you at that time, just to see if we were a connection. Because, like you said, it had to be a fit for both of us, and
Mhm.
it was instantaneous for me. And I was so excited. So it was 2018 was my year that I was going to figure out um, what what I needed to change in my life to attract the type of man that I was looking for.
Wow. And what, Julene, were you in a hard place? I know you had gone through a couple of bad marriages and all. And usually when somebody starts to perk up and think, I need some help, they're usually in a place where they've tried everything they know how to do, and they're kind of at their wits' end when they come to me. They're just like, please help me and just get me out of this. Were you having sleepless nights? Were you sick of talking to your girlfriends and, just getting the same ridiculous answers? What was happening for you emotionally at the time?
It was just it's a roller coaster ride. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to not get taken again. You're trying to, you're your own cheerleader every day, trying to put on that good front, and inside you're just, you're all over the board. It's very difficult, and you don't even know what you don't even know.
Mhm.
And that's why you keep repeating the same cycle over and over. And so my life thing I've always said my whole life is, if your life isn't working for you, then do something about it. And I just didn't want to sit there and keep complaining and keep going through the same rituals in bad relationships. So
Yeah. And what kind of emotional toll was it taking on you, Julian? Because I think, a lot of the women that are listening, they don't understand, they're going through this awful experience, right? Of wanting love, seeing their girlfriends with their husbands, planning vacations, planning holidays, planning a life together, right? And there you are, going to work every day, pouring your heart into that, but also coming home and not having anyone to share your life with, just the ins and outs of your day with.
yeah,
And they don't even realize that there's a solution to all of this. Like, there really is a way to just get it solved, right?
exactly. Yeah, I remember many, weekends especially were very difficult for me. I mean, Friday afternoon about 3 or 4, I just felt, if I didn't have plans for the weekend, I felt myself just getting almost panicked. I just was like, oh my word, what am I going to do? Um, and it was very lonely. I remember many weekend nights, coming home from being with friends and couples and things. And you're driving home at 11, 12 o'clock at night, and it's dark, and you're going home. Thank God for my golden retriever that was always there to greet me, and my son lived with me, until he was ready to be on his own too. So it's very lonely. And it's interesting. I've always said I feel that we were created to have companionship. And, when you're single and when you're frustrated and you're fed up, it's very easy to go down the path of, I don't want a man, I don't need a man. You can go into this man hate mode because you've been hurt. And it's understandable why you put
Yeah.
those walls up, and you're like, who needs a man? Well, who needs a woman? I mean, it's just, but that's not what it's about. It's just about having companionship and having one another. And I knew that that's what I wanted, and I knew that I was going to figure it out, and I knew that it was going to happen. I believed it, I spoke it, and I didn't stop.
And then you found me and you watched that webinar. And then we did our breakthrough call.
Mm-hmm.
And Julene, what was that like? I know we really hit it off. Like you and I had instant rapport, probably like you and Andy did, I'm guessing. We'll get to you in a moment, Andy. I haven't forgotten you sitting there being so patient. But and orange is your color, by the way, or red. I can't quite tell.
Orange.
You look very handsome. So what was it like on that call for you? Did you have some aha moments? Did you kind of go, yeah, I know I need this? Talk about what that experience of the breakthrough call was like.
It was very emotional for me because I felt like I finally found what I knew I wanted and needed. And I don't think I got through that call without crying. I was very moved. I was excited. I finally felt like I found what I need to figure this out. And you were so reassuring and so supportive. And, before I met Andy, obviously I dated some other men, and you walked me through some challenging times there as well. And, you just kept encouraging me, and you just kept directing me. And that first call was just, I just knew when we talked, this is it, here I go. I'm like, where do I sign up?
Yeah, you are awesome. And then talk about what it was like doing the course, because it's truly eye-opening. Like I would have given anything, Julene, myself, to have done that course. Like I created the course I wish I could have done, right? Like being out there, being a beautiful single woman who feels like she has so much to offer and doesn't have a partner, and having, questions and no answers, right? Just so many questions. And then suddenly you get into that course and it's like, wow, how could I not have known this stuff, right?
Yeah. Your methods of how you get to your final five.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just sitting down and going, well, what do I want them to be? I mean, you really have a method of how you get to those. And the course taught me so much. And I remember specifically many times sitting up at my counter in my kitchen doing it and just sobbing, like, oh my God, this is why it's been this way. And like you said, you don't know what you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
But figuring it out so that you can shift your thought process, shift your ways of being. And I will tell you, if I had not gone through your program, I wouldn't have given Andy the time of day.
And we're going to get to that.
I know.
You really redefine what a real man is and what a real woman is, what it's like to be a woman. One of the things I loved about you was you would always say, I need some verbiage.
I know. I was like going, I need to record this. I need to write it down. And I would be trying to figure, you always have great verbiage, Lisa.
And you went through some ups and downs, right? You had some real ups and downs. You met a guy pretty quickly, I think, in the course. In fact, you met somebody right away at an event.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? That you had a couple of guys that were false starts. So the guy that you met at that event.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And he was not transparent at all.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've thought back on that, just so incredibly grateful that I dodged a bullet. And that's one thing about Andy. He's been transparent from the get-go. But yeah, I had some false starts. You think you met the one, and it was, yeah, devastating at the time, thinking
Mhm.
that it wasn't, but I wasn't going to give up. So,
And we kept you out there, and then you had another guy that you met towards the end of the course or, right after you completed, I believe,
yeah,
who was also really an imposter, right? He
yeah,
really
very
was.
much so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you and I spoke and you got right back out there. Do you remember?
Yep, because it was my year and I was not giving up. I was getting back on the horse, so to speak. And you know what? I kept telling myself, so many times people are like, oh, there's nobody decent out there. And, my age, they're all, we just make reasons why we're never going to meet somebody. And I kept telling myself, well, I feel like I'm a catch and I'm a decent human being and I'm always working to be a better person. So if I'm out there, there's got to be somebody else out there that is the same, feeling the same. So I wasn't going to give up.
And when you say that you would have never been open, let's bring Andy here in a little into this conversation. When you say that you would have never given Andy a chance if it hadn't been for the course, and this is one of the big things about this course, right, is how we really start to have compassion for men and open up our hearts and realize that this is going on both sides. We're not the only ones who are struggling here. Andy, let me ask you, honey, you talk about your dating. Did you date much? Did you do much dating?
Yes.
So tell us, illuminate all the women, because I find it fascinating to hear from the male perspective some of your challenges and what you were up against, and then leading into what was different about Julene that made you fall in love with her.
Dating when you're, I think, over 30 is a dumpster fire. It's like gambling. I mean, the odds are not in your favor. So a lot of what I encountered were a lot of females that weren't looking for a relationship. They were looking for a quick fix, and really eye-opening how forward so many ladies were.
Talk about that, Andy. This is fascinating. I hear this. You're not the first man that's
transparent.
If what I found is that it doesn't matter the dating site that you're on. You get what you pay for, and the free sites. Wow. You don't have to worry about being alone if that's what you want.
Wow.
I would always say, there's lots of trolls out there. And even the Christian Mingle site, that was an eye opener big time. And I finally decided that, okay, I need to put some equity into this, and signed up. But it was very interesting and, well, I guess shocking that, you would connect with a female, and at some point you would exchange phone numbers, or, she would ask for your phone number. And then all of a sudden, you're getting very provocative pictures.
From the women.
From the women.
No way.
The whole way.
And these were women that were not trying to scam you. These were just regular women who were coming on to you.
Yes.
Whoa.
So when Julian and I actually got to the point where we had exchanged numbers and we were texting and not communicating on the site, I'd made a comment to her that it was refreshing not to get photos like that.
And I was shocked.
I'm shocked.
I mean, yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
So, I mean, that was a sign for me that, okay, Julene was in this for a relationship, not just a one-night stand or whatever.
We had another gentleman who was dating one of my clients, and he said, yeah, I wish some of these women would wait until after the third date for sex. Like they were coming on to him.
Yep.
Right now.
Wow, that's crazy. And so you really had to weed through yourself a bunch of
Dumpster fires.
dumpster fires. I love that. Wow, Andy. And so you met this gorgeous woman. I mean, you had to have been pretty blown away so tell me about how long were you dating online before you found Julene?
2.5 years.
Whoa. And were you pretty persistent? Were you consistent with it?
Yes and no. Because you get burnt out with the same old, and so then you stop, or I would stop, and then get back online after a while. And I had actually reached out to Julene. It was how long before you responded?
So he reached out to me the first part of October, and I was that Dave guy that I dated.
Yeah.
He broke up with me. Dave broke up with me October 1st of 2018. Andy sent me a message, I think maybe the second week in October. I didn't see it until I was on a flight. I didn't.
Wink, wink, wink.
I didn't see his message until
He's still holding on to that.
I know, right? Well, it's a blessing that I didn't, because I would have totally blown him off, because at that point I was so devastated of that breakup. So I didn't see his message until November. I was actually I was going to the Carolinas, and I was heading to the Carolinas to certify a salon down there. And I saw his message, and we started talking and stuff. And that's where it all started. But the interesting thing is that Dave broke up with me on October 1st. October 1st is his birthday.
He gave you a birthday present, Andy.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Anyway, yeah. So we started talking, and I don't want to get it.
Andy, so it was a dumpster fire out there. And yeah, were there any decent women, or any women where you liked them, but they weren't into you? Or did you go through some of that too, where women that you were into you and you weren't quite into them?
Oh yeah, I learned the word or the term ghosting and submarining. Learned that.
Did you get ghosted?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And did you ghost women?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a two-way street.
Oh, that's great. I love that you're unabashed about this.
Yeah, and some, when you're mid-40s, and you have a 6 and
7 and 11.
Yeah, 7 and 11-year-old. That was a big deterrent to some ladies, and I get it. You know, I had children later in life, and some people, you know, if they had their children earlier in life, then they've already done that. They didn't want to have to do it again.
Somebody asked, what is submarining?
It's the same thing as ghosting, where the submarine, you just go underwater and you're gone.
That is great. And so there were, you know, misfires, people that you liked and didn't like you and whatever, and vice versa. And then a lot of dumpster fires, right? And when did you know, like, tell us about your first date. Was it special? Was it just, you know, tell us about, you know, how you fell in love with Julene and what made you fall in love with her, Andy?
Well, it wasn't a green shirt.
We want to know about that green shirt.
Well, but you have to go back.
I don't know. We had a very good conversations that were not on just the surface. We started digging in quickly, in-depth questions that had substance and meaning. Fairly well, after we got past the 7 and 11-year-old.
Yeah, I'll never forget that moment. I was on the plane getting ready to take off, and he said to me, he goes, well, you know, because we were asking questions, and I said, so tell me about your, you know, tell me, do you have children? And he said, well, this is where most women go silent. And he said, I have 2 daughters, ages 7 and 11. And I went to myself,
here came the pause.
And I said to him, I says, well, I can understand why women go silent. That's you don't just marry the person you not marry. I said, you know, it's a package deal. And having come off of, you know, raising my son with his stepdad and the challenges that, you know, brought, I take that very seriously. And so I really chose my words carefully in my response to him, but I did not obviously shut him out. But I did say, you know, it's a big responsibility. So then I wanted to get a feeling of, are they his little princesses that can do nothing wrong? Because I had dated a man that had 2 older daughters, and, you know, they were those and things. So Andy seemed to have just an extremely, I mean, obviously he's an amazing father and he loves his daughters with his entire heart, which he should and does, but he's very, he's not, these are my girls, don't touch them. I mean, it's very, Mason, you know, my son, he always tells everybody we have 3 kids. So, you know, it's just, and anyway, they're great kids. I call them my bonus girls. I'm not personally a fan of the word step, so I call them my bonus girls.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful, Julene. And you probably at the time when you were dating, I'm making an assumption here, you weren't thinking about having young children again in your life, right?
Well, like I said, I wouldn't even have been open to that had you not helped me just be more open in general.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, instead of just shutting it down, I just started asking questions because I needed to get a pulse on what's the relationship with the ex-wife. I don't want to walk into some crazy scene there.
Yeah.
What's his attitude towards his girls, you know? And so, I mean, we have them 50% of the time. So you know, this is not a just every other weekend I mean, we are raising them together, you know.
How
So
old are they now?
10 and 14.
Oh, wow. Wow. So they're young.
Yeah. Yep.
The 14-year-old's available for anyone that would care to help raise. Board.
She's an awesome kid, but
She
you know,
is.
she's 14, so the hormones, you know, so, you know.
I'm very thankful to have Julene to deal with the becoming a female, becoming a lady, because, yeah, it's not me.
Mary, that's really amazing. So you opened up your heart and you asked the right questions and you didn't just dismiss Andy, but you decided to not make assumptions and get curious.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And yeah.
And you know, the other thing too is that Mason, my son, he was already on his own. So that helped too, because I thought, okay, well, you know, the more kids you bring into it, the more complex it becomes. I mean, you really have to be very good communicators and, you know, very open to things and stuff. So that's helped in things. But yeah, it's, you know, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, we've had our moments where, you know, but I brought to the table being in his shoes, raising Mason with my ex-husband, who was his stepfather, and it was very challenging. So I know what it's like to be in his place. So I'm always being very considerate and cognizant of that. And, you know, and really treating and looking at the girls, even though I get frustrated with them sometimes, I got frustrated with my own flesh and blood child. And so, you know, but it's an honor, and I'm really taking it as an opportunity to build a great relationship with them. And I don't try to trump their mom. They have a mom. I'm a bonus person. So
That's wonderful. That's really lovely. And I hope all the women, you know, all the people that are listening really hear what you're sharing here, Julene, because you opened your heart up and not just, you know, you to everything that Andy offered, including his two daughters, and you gave it a chance, but you have a bigger, richer family here and daughters, which, you know, maybe one day you'll have a daughter-in-law, but now you have, you know, ostensibly two daughters that you would have never had, right? The experience of, in many ways, mothering two daughters, which is so beautiful. And I'm sure, Andy, you know, you couldn't have a better partner to do this with.
Yes.
You know, I know one of the things Julene has is tremendous integrity. So, or that was my experience of you, Julene.
thank you.
So I know you would have taken that on, you know, with, you know, you would have been very serious about the responsibility of doing that and making room in your life and your heart for these girls. It's a big thing to do that and to do it with grace.
It is a big thing. You know, I also realize having Mason is 23, and, you know, I see how fast that went. So even though there's days that it can be challenging, I also I'm on the other side of it on one side. So I do realize how quickly it goes. So.
Wow, what a beautiful thing. And Andy, so she was willing to warm up to these two little girls of yours.
That must be willing to just stick her big toe in the water at first.
Hey, you got to check the temperature of the water.
And we had set up a date on a Wednesday evening at 7:00 just to meet for a drink. And I was actually double booked that evening. And
so was I.
Submarined the other one.
No.
And I remember, you know, because I had seen a picture of her, and I just, you know, when I walked into the bar, I saw her. And it just was, you know, felt, I made the right choice.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. I couldn't imagine walking in and seeing Julene for the first. I think she's so beautiful. So, yeah, that's wonderful. And what was she? Tell me, what was the first thing that crossed your mind when you saw her?
I think I was not focused on her, but focused on myself, of not screwing up, not being a dumpster fire. Just trying to play it cool and just, relax.
So it's very funny because Benjamin, my husband, and I do a new podcast on Sunday mornings called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. And the whole focus of our last podcast or our last Facebook Live was exactly that, how nervous men feel and how they just don't want to screw it up. So that's great. I love it, Andy. That's fabulous. So you were nervous.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that, Julene?
Well, I mean, I think there's always a level of nerves, but he didn't. I mean, he wasn't acting stupid or like tripping over himself or anything. But I mean, I really try in my profession and just I really try to put people at ease.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we were both extremely engaging with one another. We sat up at the bar, we had a drink, and, you're close to each other when you're sitting at the bar, your legs kind of touch a little bit. And so, it was a really nice, it was a nice evening. But, when I left there that night, I was like, he's nice. I like him. But it wasn't like, oh, this is it. This is the man. And I think I was somewhat guarded too, having just come off of that pretty bad breakup in October. But, so I wasn't sure, I was just like, I don't know. But he would always text me in the morning. I always woke up to a text message. He was extremely consistent, and I'm more the nervous dater, and so that reassurance was huge for me. He's definitely just steady Eddie as it goes, and just yeah.
And when did you realize, Andy, that this might be the one for you?
I don't know if I can pinpoint.
I don't know if I can pinpoint that really either.
Did it take some time? Was it a matter of a few dates? Was it months?
Well, we met on Wednesday, and then I had rotator cuff surgery on Thursday, and so we had a little planned pause, and then we got together for Christmas with the girls.
Yeah, so we met November 14, and then it was Thanksgiving weekend that we really wanted to spend time together and just really learn about each other. But prior to that, so have the salon. Andy worked where he worked. They had green, like Kelly green, god awful t-shirts. And I was
for one of the committees.
That's what it was. Well, I'm in the salon industry. I'm in this, that world. And so, how someone dresses is important to me, all those different things. So I'm very affected by that sort of thing. And in fact, I made him change his shirt. I didn't make him, but I asked him to change his shirt.
She made me.
I'm like, you got to dress up a little bit for this. So anyway, I'm doing hair one day, and I've got 7 other girls that do hair, and
you had your best Pat was in the chair.
And my best friend was in the chair getting her hair done. And he surprises me and walks into the salon with this god-awful t-shirt on. Pat had never met him before. Walks right over and tries to kiss me on the lips as I'm working. I turned my face. I was so mortified because I wasn't expecting it. And the jury was still out whether I liked him or I didn't like him. And my face says it all. My face. Poor guy. I mean, he knew when he walked out, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
30 minutes out of my way to go for that.
Oh no. Oh, Andy.
Well, I was just, and then I get my friend's color on because I was putting her color on when he did that. And then we go back to my office and she's like, oh no. And I'm like, I just can't believe he did that. Well, anyway, so it really set me back.
Oh no.
But yet I just feel like when you're single and you're in the dating world, you just feel so vulnerable and you just feel like your heart's out on the freeway for everybody to see and drive over and everything else. And so I'm really big on trying my hardest to keep people's spirit intact. I mean, if you're a jerk, I'll tell you you're a jerk, but even when, so anyway, I knew he felt like a heel and he knew that I was not impressed with that. So I said to him later, we talked on the phone and I said, I know you had all sweet intentions in doing that and that, but my work is my work. And I'm just very private about my relationships in front of my employees and, so on and so forth. And so,
well, you got past it.
So anyway, so I had pretty much decided that it was a turn off.
She was batting the hatches on the submarine. She was ready to make a dive.
And so I talked to my friend. I had a friend in my neighborhood. Her name was Lisa as well. She had a couple of college age kids still living at home. And I was telling her everything that happened and how turned off I was and he's not it and blah, 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 blah. And she's listening. And all of a sudden she goes, I just walked into my closet in my bedroom so my kids would not hear me. And I want you to listen and I want you to listen up right now.
Good for her.
And she, for 30 minutes, I think, I don't want to say she gave me a tongue lashing because she wasn't being mean about it, but she was basically just telling me to get past the green shirt and to look at who he is as a human being. Oh. And she really, I still tell her, I'm like, it's because of you, I gave him a second chance. So anyway, I got past the green shirt, and of course the green shirt became the biggest joke between us after that. But so, yeah.
Wow. So that almost didn't happen.
No. Nope.
One thing like that.
Yeah.
One thing, and this great guy, and that sweet gesture, whether it was embarrassing or whatever, the sweetness of what he was doing, the thoughtfulness of coming and wanting to surprise you. And yeah, he really,
that's how he is. That's just how he is. I mean, he loves to surprise me. He loves to surprise the girls. He's very thoughtful in so many ways.
Haven't been back to the salon since.
That's not true.
So did you surprise her did you propose? Did you surprise Julene? How did that happen? Did you guys decide together that it was just how did that come down?
Yeah, it was mutual. I think wanting to get it right, done it the traditional way in the past, and that didn't work. again, we're very transparent. Grabbed my phone and put her face in it. So I was like, I don't have anything to hide if you here. So we have, we're very open conversation, and we discuss everything. So it was a mutual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just decided we wanted to get married, and we decided where his grandfather started a church down at Fort Myers Beach, where his family has had a condo right on the beach since the 1980s. And so we decided to get married down there, and got married in the church there. And
Beautiful.
the day was beautiful. And yeah.
That's lovely. Lovely. And let's talk just for a moment about, Andy, one of the things that we do in my course, a big piece of it is really learning how to talk to men and, appreciate them, that know how to say things and not say things. Do you find with Julene that she's more skilled at, being able to say things in a kind way and think about your feelings than maybe some other women that you've met or that you've been with?
Yes, Julene is very, very direct.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wonder.
Tells you.
Oh, I wonder what she's thinking. And I guess we both are. We both wear it. We could never play poker. So she is very direct. We did the love languages early on, and it was something that I had read about prior, and again hadn't done it in a relationship. So let's give this a try. So words of affirmation are one of the love languages for me, and Julian does do a very good job of that.
That's wonderful. And Julene, how do you feel like, having done the course, that you're different, that you're being different in this relationship than you've been in other relationships?
Well, I think just really speaking my truth, but how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Things would get rough in past relationships. I was always the type to just, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving. I'm out. And I really, after what I've learned from you, it's about, yes, we have a good, healthy relationship. No one needs to run. We just need to talk this out, and we just need to be very honest. And one thing that I have with Andy that we established right from the get-go is, when we talk about something and we come to our conclusion, it's done. There is no passive aggressive playing games with each other. I mean, when it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge deal. And then the other thing too that I've really, Andy, if something's bothering me, I can't just sweep it under the rug. Andy can just roll with things a little bit better, but I've really said to him, if you don't tell me what's bothering you, if there's something I do, that's what chips away at your love for me and our relationship. And I believe that that's one of the things that happens. People have been married for years and they're like, we just grew apart. Well, I don't want to be assumptuous about what that all means for those people, but I just am a firm believer that you can't let things go.
Yeah.
You have to allow each other to be human. It's not like you're going to sit there and pick at each other all day. But if there is really something that's a problem that's causing you to kind of put a wall up against that person, you really have to talk about it. And I've really since I've taken the course, I've really tried to not be, and I haven't mastered this, be knee jerk reaction, because when I am, I always regret it.
Hmm.
But yet calm down and really think about how can I approach this in a way that won't make him defensive, so that we can actually have a conversation and
Right.
actually be solution driven.
That's
So,
beautiful.
your verbiage that you've helped me with, has been helpful. And those are all, I think about those things. What results do I want to get, and how do I have to get to that result?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know you stayed out there, you dove in, you really participated, and it sounds like you found the guardian of your soul.
I
Right.
definitely
You
did.
really did. And I know you got very sick. You had a heart problem at one point, Julene, and Andy was right there by
Yeah.
your side. I remembered seeing all your Facebook posts and all. And, imagine having gone through that without this wonderful man by your side.
Yeah. And that was, I think that was definitely a turning point. It really, it's when you go through the tough things together and how you do it together that really it really binds you together. And I mean, I remember when I called Andy and said, they're taking me by ambulance to the hospital, and he says, I'm on my way. And I mean, he was 40 minutes away. And I mean, he like dropped everything, and we were dating. We weren't even engaged at this point.
Yeah.
And he was right there, and just saw me through it all. And he's had some surgeries that we've had some hiccups with, and
Yeah.
that's just what you do. You're just there.
It's wonderful, Julian. And also having gone through this last year, right, with COVID and everything there, having a partner and, the girls and all, I'm sure that could have been a rough experience. Well, for a lot of people, it was a very lonely and challenging time. And I know for my husband and me, we were just happy we got to spend more time together. My
I said that to him at the beginning. I says, I would be losing my mind right now
Right.
and not have you in my life.
Yeah.
He keeps me grounded. I can go to the moon, and he keeps me grounded. He's very and his sense of humor, he just, if I'm uptight about something, he just makes me laugh and just, okay, I need to just, take a chill pill.
Oh, well, I cannot thank both of you enough. I truly can't for doing this. I know we had a few attempts that didn't happen, but I so appreciate you sticking in there and coming on and doing this. Women love hearing these stories. Please give some thumbs up and some hearts if you enjoyed tonight's Facebook Live, because it's so beautiful when couples like you are willing to come on and just share your stories and give people hope. Julene, what would you say to the women out there who are looking and struggling with this and really wanting to, some are wanting to give up, some are getting their heart broken? Because I know you really went through a lot to get here. What would you say to those women?
Do not give up. Just know, Lisa, your story inspired me. How you met Benjamin, you went through so much to get to where you are in your life. And that's what encouraged me, is knowing, okay, if you can do it, I can do it. And so can all the other women out there. There is a guardian of your soul, and you don't give up. Make it your mission.
Wow.
And just continue to become the best person you can be.
Yeah, and get help. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting help to get this solved.
And you get your heart broken, and it's gut wrenching. And thank God for the girlfriends who listen to you for hours on end, cry and sob and all that. But it's just it's worth the pain when you finally meet the man.
And Andy, what would you say to all these women out there who are searching, and what would be your advice?
again, don't give up. Be transparent. Follow your heart, and you're gonna fall down.
Mhm.
And no, that doesn't matter. It just matters how quick you get back up.
Yeah. 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 And it's worth it, right? It's worth everything you go through to wind up where the two of you are, to have this beautiful.
Oh, your past doesn't, you're not defined by your past,
Yeah.
but it definitely makes you a better person.
Yeah. If you choose to, if you learn and grow from your mistakes, right? And you just keep your heart open and you keep going. Yeah, you can find that guardian of your soul. It's out there. Thank you so much. I wish you two just health and happiness, and that you both can enjoy every moment of this beautiful life that you have together. None of us
Thank
knows how long it's going to be, but the best we can do is just enjoy every single second while we have it. So,
That's right.
yeah.
Thank you, Lisa, for inviting us. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thank you both for doing this. It was just a joy. And it's so great to catch up, Julene, and just get to hear, how everything turned out for you. So thank you. And Andy, it's just an honor to have such a lovely gentleman. And I love your honesty and your humor that you submarined and you ghosted just like the rest of them.
My pleasure.
Have a wonderful evening, and thank you to everybody who came on and joined us. It was a real pleasure to share this with all of you.